Hi, welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. I'm your host, Brian Koval. Before we get started, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. If you want to see me play your favorite deck or your spicy brew on the channel, I take donation deck lists. I'll do a deck tech, play a full Magic Online League, and help tune your list. If that sounds good, check out my contact info. It's in the video description below. Now let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is a list that was requested by Patreon subscriber King of the Depths. And King of the Depths wanted me to play this blue-white humans deck. This is an archetype pioneered by Kellen Pistori, who is a former Platinum Magic Pro, and a person who has put a lot of work into Death and Taxes. I played against Kellen in the Star City Team Eternal thing. I think it might have been our win-in for top 8, and Kellen was an extremely competent Death and Taxes player. So he's got some experience doing this sort of thing. But this is a much more aggressively slanted version. It looks a lot more like the modern humans deck than it does like Legacy Death and Taxes. But instead of being all 5 colors, we've just got mostly mono white with a little blue splash for disruption. What this deck is trying to do is attack for 20 quickly. It seems a little silly to go into deep into a deck tech on something like this, but if you haven't seen it, we've got Champion of the Parish, that gets big quickly. Aether Vial cheats on mana. Cavern makes your creatures uncounterable. Mother of Runes makes your creatures unkillable. Charming Prince, you get to flicker your Recruiter of the Guard to search for more things. Elite Spellbinder. This is a card. This is the new card. This is the reason that this deck is being experimented with. This is Paulo Vitor Domodorosa's World Championship card. A 3/1 flying for 3. When it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card is exiled, its owner may play it, and a spell cost this way costs 2 more to cast. So this is a card that I misread during the entire preview season. I thought it was non-creature, non-land card, but it's actually just non-land card. You can spike a creature out of their hand too, and I thought the card was good before I knew it could hit creatures. So this is much better than I thought it was, and I already thought it was solid. So I'm excited to play with this. Charming Prince can also reset this, take another card out of their hand. You can search for this with Recruiter of the Guard. Meddling Mage, of course. Format Knowledge helps to cast this card in heads-up matches, so you need to know what your opponent's going to play that could get you. Charming Prince can reset the Meddling Mage. The fun of Lavinia. Lavinia can absolutely destroy some decks and be a complete blank against others, so having one to search for seems like the right number. And then Thalia's Lieutenant. This creature puts so much power on the board so quickly. If you've played Modern at all in the past 4 or 5 years, you've seen this in action. It pumps all your humans when it comes into play, and then it gets pumped every time future humans come into play. So extremely powerful. And with Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant, Charming Prince puts lots of humans into play. This usually represents at least 2 humans coming into play because itself is a human, and then whatever it flickers is also probably a human. In the main deck, it's definitely a human. There's a couple of non-human creatures in Skyclave Apparition and Aethersworn Canonist. Oh, nope, that is a human. My bad. A human cleric. Good job, Aethersworn Canonist. This is definitely a human. So it's just the Skyclave Apparitions in the sideboard that are not humans in this deck. So here it is. Mono white aggressive hate bear humans. Let's go run some people over. I'm on the draw and I've kept this absolute banger. We've got the 1-drop in the deck followed by 2 different options for disruption. Underground Sea, Preordain. So I could go for the Cheese Wasteland, just like bang, are you dead? And we would basically just play turn 1 over again. Drawing a second Wasteland is pretty interesting. I'm actually going to go for this. Because decks with Preordain in them tend to be land light. They're either combo or Delver decks. Like basically all of the time. And those decks tend to play somewhere between like 16 and 19 lands. So just beating up on their mana, especially having the second Wasteland, seems like a reasonable thing to do here. If they had played a Delver or just put some sort of threat into play, I'm not making these plays. Alright, the fact that they had to crack a Lotus Petal to cast Ponder makes me feel like I'm doing something right here. It looks like they're gonna get there anyway. Do I want... Yeah, alright. I was about to say, like, do I want to play around a counterspell and protect the fact that I have Cavern? I guess if I play Tundra, I'm representing Daze. Like, right now I'm just representing nothing. Here's where I hope that they're Doomsday, and they are Doomsday. Now I have to hope I don't lose. Like, if I cast Meddling Mage and name Thassa's Oracle, I'm gonna feel pretty good. But if they can just finish the game off right now, it's not gonna matter. So much for my Wasteland strat. I still think it was fine. Like, they were cantripping on those turns, so they were, like, getting ahead a little bit, but they had to use at least the second and third one to find the lands. And they have to be... I'm sure the deck has a pile that can beat Meddling Mage. I just have to hope that they don't find it, or don't do it correctly. Alright, they've made their choice. Alright, so blue, white. Gonna name Thassa's Oracle, and just hope that we win. Yeah! Pew pew. Alright, they did not make a pile that beats Meddling Mage. They didn't even want to see what I would name. They just gave me the credit. I respect that. Okay, Sanctum Prelate's good. Aethersworn Canonist is good. Deafening Silence, Flusterstorm. These can just replace the Swords to Plowshares straight up. Lavinia is going to be great here. Aether Vial is probably a little slow for a matchup like this. Especially on the draw. Yeah, this makes sense to me. I don't think I'm going to need Jailer or Apparition. Like, the game's just not going to go that long. And if it does, well, it's not going to, because my deck's not going to let it go that long. I'm used to playing blue decks where if the game goes long, I start to get favored over time, but this deck just doesn't let the game get long. It's just pow, pow, pow. 8-pair decks are historically made to just farm combo, and I hope that it pays off that way, though their sideboard is going to have to show up. Oh my god, curving Deafening Silence into Thalia and or Meddling Mage. Back it up with a Wasteland. Get out of here. So even if they go like Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Doomsday right now, my hand is still like pretty solid against that. Mishra's Bauble. They want to know what I'm drawing. That's fair. Do I want to just zap the Wasteland again? Just do that strat? So what did the Preordained do? It bottomed, and then they fired off this Bauble. No, I think getting the Hate Bears online makes more sense. I can get Thalia into play next turn, and then Meddling Mage plus Wasteland, which I think is going to make more sense. My hand is just full of such potent threats the whole way up the curve that I don't need to hope for a Wasteland cheese, especially now that I know what they're actually up to over there. I have to get Tundra with this because I don't have a Cavern this game. I'm leading on Thalia because I think they need to set up more than I need to just block out an Oracle. Alright, just passing the turn. So I can play around Daze now. Or I could just get my Spellbinder into play and bind some spells. That also gives me perfect information to make decisions with Meddling Mage off of. Right, this plays into Daze, and it deals a damage I didn't need to take. But I think it's pretty good. Just getting all this information. It's going to be a BFD. So I can strip the... I probably just strip the Doomsday. Like, what am I even saying right now? They have a lot of lands available. I could strip the Force and then like let them Doomsday and jam Meddling Mage. Nah, I'm just gonna make the level 1 play. Yeah, like I can, so they can Dark Ritual. All right, Wraith was their draw for turn. So they can Dark Ritual to cast Doomsday, but not if I start wasting. All right, so there's Wasteland. I'm gonna waste them in combat. So I have a stop set at combat damage. Waste you now. So I got my 3 damage in case they had ideas of casting a removal spell. I'll probably have to force this if they have it. Just gonna try to keep that Doomsday locked out of the game. Oh right, they can't Dark Ritual Doomsday because I have Deafening Silence in play. That was not a good play. Okay, alright. Well, it didn't matter. They just killed it anyway. So they have to answer the Deafening Silence before they can Writ Doomsday. I forgot this was even over here for a while. Wow, this card is oppressive. So if I find a cavern and can shut off these Force of Wills, life's gonna get pretty good. But I know they're top decking, so like this was their draw last turn, this was their draw this turn, and now they're pondering into a random card. They chose to shuffle. So if they have anything at all, like if they have a blue card to go with the Force, then I know their hand is Dark Ritual Edge of Autumn. So I'm gonna attack, and then I'm gonna recruit for a 2-drop, probably Meddling Mage, and then I can Meddling Mage plus Lieutenant next turn for large amounts of damage. And I'm gonna pay 1 life, leaving up Tundra. Like this is a ineffective bluff because I didn't have to take that damage, so I'm leaving up blue clearly on purpose. So if they know anything about the deck or the format, they might respect Flusterstorm here. I think I just want Meddling Mage. Or I could get Sanctum Prelate and just put it on 3. But then I'd have to draw a land to double spell. Seen Red Blast. Like I could have gotten Mother of Runes to just try to lock in my profits, but I think that double spelling next turn will do plenty. Alright, just no plays past the turn. Love to see it. So it's time for Meddling Mage. So they had the Force for that. Force pitching Force. I know that 2 of the cards in hand are not good. I'm going to give up the Flusterstorm bluff. I just don't think it's that important now. We're going to punch for 1,000,000. Even if they cast a Doomsday, they're dead on board. So they have to cast Doomsday and win that same turn, which is close to impossible with Deafening Silence in play. I guess if they have like Pyroclasm to clear the board. Alright, so they're cycling with Edge of Autumn. Alright. Brainstorm is their spell for the turn. We're going to go to my turn. And they have to kill 3 creatures at instant speed. Can't be done. Alright. Destroyed a combo deck like we're supposed to. I'm on the draw. I've kept this phenomenal Aether Vial hand. Ooh, we're playing against Maverick. This will be fun. Challenging, but fun. So I'm going to get a basic plains, and I'm fetching now. Like, the deck doesn't play Brainstorm or any reason to fetch in the future. So just thinning lands out of the deck. Playing around, I guess, like Aven Mind Sensor, which is not really a card that appears in Maverick in 2021, but if I can play around something, I'm going to. Maybe the fetch land gave away information I didn't want to give them. Like, if I just go Plains Aether Vial, then I'm probably Death and Taxes. But Death and Taxes doesn't have a fetch land in it, for sure. Okay, I am going to cast Swords to Plowshares on their Mother of Runes. Because I don't think it's getting better than that. Well, I know it's not getting better than that, because that's how Mother of Runes works. It's now or never. So basically the alternative that was available was I Violin Champion of the Parish, cast Charming Prince, scry 2, and just hope that my champion gets big enough to punch through. But Mother of Runes also checks that plan. No land, maybe? Yeah, Thalia having First Strike and Exalted makes it pretty safe to attack into a Vial. Alright, now we pivot. Yes, put in the champ. And Elite Spellbinder gets to bind both of the cards in their hand this turn. That's pretty cool. Oh, Recruiter of the Guard on top of all of it. Okay, so I'm going to Spellbind, see what they've got going on over there. Swords of Plowshares and Once Upon a Time. So exile the Plow. Always yield to that. Then Violin. Charming Prince. Charming Prince. Exile another thing. Spellbinder. Oh, that's nice. Maybe I'm supposed to Meddling Mage Plow and just exile Once Upon a Time, but these both sound pretty good. And I'm pretty happy to offer the trade with Tireless Tracker, because I have a card draw engine online here and they don't. So basically, like, they have to hope to draw a land and then use it to grow the tracker, but Champion of the Parish will be basically unbeatable in combat starting next turn. Yeah, they have a tough choice here. But if they draw the land, then they can cast the Plow. So it's kind of tricky here. Like, it's actually not that tricky. You just easily don't block, I think. So their hand is gone. My champ is large. I have the flyer. And then I have the crazy reload with Recruiter of the Guard next turn. And if they just don't draw a land here, I get to, like, what could they draw here that's, like, just doesn't do anything? Most creatures, like another Noble Hierarch, not great. Green Sun Zenith is not good here. Their best draw is probably a fetch land, which would generate 2 clues, and it lets them cast the Plow from exile. Plow costs 4 because of Thalia plus Spellbinder. So I can block with Spellbinder, and I think I'm actually super happy with that trade. It's already stripped their hand down to nothing, and if I can take out this draw engine, like, I have a 4/4 soon to be much larger, ready to pound. And I can Meddling Mage Swords to Plowshares next turn. Like, if they don't have the 4th mana source, which if they had, they would have played before combat, so they could make a clue. Because that would also mean this thing beats Spellbinder in combat, and they just had no follow-up. Just put their card in the graveyard. I'll never refuse that. Blue-white, Plowshares right off the bat. That way, if they block with Thalia, their Plow is still under lock. Swords to Plowshares. Yep, you're not casting that one. Then I can attack with my 5/5. I don't need to recruit yet. I don't know what I need. I guess I could recruit for Mom and then cast Mom. That would be pretty high velocity, and it would lock in the Meddling Mage. They'd have a really hard time beating a Mom. I think I'd rather hold out and just get them with the full recruit for... Oh, what's all this? Oh, just hard casting Once Upon a Time. Ouch. And that's not the one from exile, that's out of their hand. Yeah, I think I want to end step recruit for Thalia's Lieutenant and just pound, because getting these up to 3/3s means that I get to attack with all these creatures through Thalia. Turns out her Lieutenant is stronger than her, which I guess makes sense if she's standing in the back of the battleground giving orders and her Lieutenant is out there executing them. Ooh. That's a good card to find. Good thing they both don't have black mana and my creatures are all bigger than 1/1. But it's good to know that this is in the deck. They are the Dark Maverick. And that does mess up the math for Thalia's Lieutenant, because then these stay 2/2s, even with a +1 counter on them. The Lieutenant would die immediately. What's the get with this? Recruit for, I think it's probably just still Thalia's Lieutenant. Like getting the power on the board, still worth it. Okay, so they didn't want to cast Swords to Plowshares? That seems worse than basically everything. Did they just forget this card exists? Oh, nope. Meddling Mage. They're on the correct level. I am behind it. I wonder if it's frustrating to be locked out of a game with Meddling Mage when you're on Maverick. It feels like it shouldn't really happen. I wonder if they'll concede to my end step vial. Time to go off. Oh yeah, just packed it right up. That's the right decision. Because we were coming in hot. Okay, so we have to beat a creature deck that contains Plague Engineer. So Skyclave Apparition comes in. The Path to Exiles I probably want. Palace Jailer looks real good here. The Containment Priest is kind of interesting because they're a Greensun Zenith deck, but I'm an Aether Vial deck. So I don't think I really want to play that game. And I'm not sure that Grafdigger's Cage. Like, Cage stops Zenith, but doesn't stop Vial. But I just don't think that that's the axis of this game I want to fight on. So all of these cards are going to stay over here. Like, I want to save the Cages and Priests for Reanimator and Elves and Degenerate decks. Like, I think I can beat this deck in combat. So Lavinia, this is one of the matchups where she's just horrendous. And Thalia is not great in these matchups either. I mean, being a first strike creature is relevant, but you can't afford to draw 2 copies of the same legend, and her text isn't that great. You need all the lands. We're both Wasteland decks. That's not a fight I really want to fight. Do I want the Meddling Mages? I can name Greensun Zenith, which is a pretty strong hit. I guess Thalia is extra bad because I know they have Plague Engineer. Mom gets under Plague Engineer in a way that might be useful. Like, if I go turn 1 Mother, turn 2 Thalia's Lieutenant, then Mother is safe from Plague Engineer even if they have it right away on turn 3. But boarding out some number of X1 creatures makes sense, though most of my deck is X1 creatures. I might just have to play to a situation where I'm ahead on board. Like, Thalia's Lieutenant is the most important card in the deck against Plague Engineer. And Meddling Mage, if I get down first, can name it. Alright, yeah. I like this. This hand looks pretty good. I'm gonna keep it. Got Swords to Plowshares, we can cast our spells. It's pretty cool how much removal this mono white creature deck actually has in it. Okay, I have the 4 Plows, 2 Path, 2 Sanctum, not Sanctum Prelate, Skyclave Apparition, and then 3 ways to tutor for Skyclave Apparition. It's powerful stuff. I think that's enough removal that I'm... Oh yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna plow that one. I was about to say I would plow a Noble Hierarch, but I'm definitely gonna plow Mother of Runes, because now or never, like I've said in the past. Probably just want a Meddling Mage naming Plague Engineer. Just get right ahead of that. Though, do they have... They probably have more Swords to Plowshares than they have Plague Engineers. Okay, so they had the Wasteland and didn't use it. That's pretty interesting. That makes me think they're gearing up for something. And the thing that they would probably gear up for is Plague Engineer. Like, that's a 3-drop that's pretty good. Like, they could have just put me on no permanence. Maybe I missed my land drop. Who knows? Scrib Ranger. Okay. Temporarily turned off. Can plow if they want, but it'll cost them a turn. I have enough lands to play through this wasteland. I have a 2-drop even if they do crack it off. Scrib Ranger unfortunately blocks Meddling Mage forever. Just pro blue. So the double wasteland. Now they put me on no permanence. That makes sense why they would wait a turn if that's the play. But luckily I still have 2 lands. And they can play on 1 land for a while if they don't have another one, because Scrib Ranger can bounce the Savannah and they can fire it back in. Alright. They want to damage race me? I'll do it. Drawing Path to Exile makes me want to lead on Tundra. I would have played Cavern if I didn't draw a spell to cast, because I want my Tundra available when I have a spell to cast, but I found one, so here we are. I'm not in a hurry to Path to Exile a Scrib Ranger when we both have 1 mana available. Like, I don't want to ramp them out of that. Let's make that Wasteland hurt. And I'm probably in just a desperate Thalia's Lieutenant situation here. Yeah, I'm not going to waste them. Like, it... Obviously, you prefer to have humans in play before you do this, but it will grow. It's basically just Champion of the Parish at this point, which was extremely effective last game, just on its own. We're just starting a couple turns behind schedule. But they haven't really done anything, and if they want to spend a plow on this, I am not going to complain. So this looks like a Plague Engineer coming in. I would like to get at least 1 trigger off of my Lieutenant before that happens, but no guarantees. Oh, black mana is in the pool. There you are. And this Wasteland isn't particularly effective because they have Scrib Ranger. They can just pick it up. Pick up whatever land I target. Hold on. I can do better. Do this in the upkeep, where they don't get to use the mana for the turn. Actually, I think I want to do it in the draw step, where they may have drawn a basic that they would want to search for. And they're not going to have a counter spell, so I can just go for it. And if they use their Scrib Ranger, I can waste land. So now Scrib Ranger is kind of on protecting your lands duty, and not on hitting your land drop duty. Spellbinder getting a peek at their hand feels like it'll be pretty good. And then Recruiter can reload. I really wish there was like an Enlistment Officer or Brass Herald or something in this deck that I could just fill up with, but there is not. A Recruiter really is just like a one-shot unless I want to recruit for Recruit. I guess I could recruit for Charming Prince, and that's kind of like recruiting for Recruiter while still getting on board. Yeah, I like that. I'm in. Right, Caracas is a land I can waste. Knight of the Reliquary is scurry. Yeah, so this will get huge eventually, especially with Scrib Ranger. Like, they get to Knight twice in a turn. That also means they can Wasteland multiple times in a turn. Some of my white sources. Maybe I'm supposed to recruit for Skyclave Apparition to clear the Knight, but if they see it coming, they could just aggressively waste me off of all my colors here. Plow and Zenith. I think I'm more scared of Zenith. Also, this is a card that is going to be pretty tough to get value, or get as much value as you want out of when it costs 2 more. So like X is automatically -2, and you got to work through that. Let's see if Knight is just a 6/6, or if they're going to do tricks with it. Because like the Wastelands look kind of rough now if they grow Knight. But recruit for Skyclave Apparition can clear the Knight eventually. We know about this plow, so they can plow the apparition and get a 3/3, but a 3/3 is better than a 6/6 with additional abilities. So it begins. Some sort of technology land they're going to get. They could just get fetch lands and grow Knight very quickly. They could get Horizon Canopy and redraw. Alright, Cradle's a pretty good one. That could get this Zenith out of exile with some efficiency. So it's currently Zenith for 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can Zenith for 2? Am I counting that correctly? 3, okay. I was not counting it correctly. I'm gonna waste the Cradle now in case they get Leovold. I don't want them to draw a card off it. And Leovold would add blue to this deck, but we've already seen the black. And some builds do just play Leovold as a Zenith target, and then they have the Noble Hierarchs to cast it. Oh, just second Knight, fair enough. That brings the pain very similarly. Yikes. So they have the Wasteland in their hand, they can waste that. They can use Scribe Ranger to untap Knight and then waste my Cavern as well. And then I'm just facing down 2 10/10s with no mana. I think I can safely concede this game. Just beaten down. Cavern on human, I can't even naturally draw a Skyclave Apparition. Yeah, we're done here. The second Knight, that was too much. That's not how that works. So, do I want Containment Priest? Is Green Sun Zenith a big enough part of this matchup that I would want this card in just for that? Now, Lavinia doesn't interact with it at all. Yeah, I think having one priest to tutor for makes a little bit of sense. And I'm on the play this time. I think I can have less in the way of Meddling Mage on the play. Though, actually, I think I want one fewer Aether Vial. Because Vial's not a card you can afford to draw 2 of in the matchup. Like if you just top deck turn 3 Aether Vial, it's a huge blowout. So I'm going to have 3. That gives me a chance to have one in the opener and then not draw another, which is where I want to be. Yeah, I can keep this. This doesn't have like a super straight line to anything phenomenal, but if I could like plow Noble Hierarch, waste the land that cast it, that could be a strong start. Play the Wasteland game against them. All right, let's see what kind of respect they give me. Is this basic forest, or do I get to waste? No respect at all. It's Zenith for Arbor. Alright, so I'm going to plow the Arbor and waste the land. I'm not going to get Tundra because I think that beating Wasteland is more important than casting Meddling Mage. Hopefully this is effective at slowing them down, shutting them down for a while. Well, now I'm exposed to Wasteland, handful of 3-drops, and a non-basic land in play. So, extremely interested in drawing a basic Plains next turn. Or any land, really. Cast Path to Exile, please. It still says they're waiting to pay cost. Oh my god, they cast Path to Exile on a 1/1 while we're in this attrition battle? I was just kidding, but sure. I think that was just like a panic. Like, oh no, I don't have any mana, I better cast the spell I can cast, which we can now see was a huge mistake. Alright, so I'm going to Spellbinder, see what they're up to. Hopefully I can cut off their next play. I'm leaving up Path to Exile just in case. Kasali, Pride Mage, Knight of Autumn, Knight of the Reliquary, Zenith. Which of these cards do I care about the most? I mean, they can't cast any of the 3-drops next turn. The 2-drop, their Dried Arbor's already gone. So it's between Zenith and Pride Mage, and I guess it's Zenith. Yeah, I'll knock that Zenith out and begin the digging. So if they miss their land drop, alright, they didn't. But it's one that hurts, so I'll take that. So they have to cast Kasali Pride Mage here. And they still don't have mana to speak of. Another Spellbinder. What does that do? I could knock the Knight of the Reliquary out of their hand. And then I can path the Pride Mage on their upkeep or draw step, right? Oh, wait. Stop it. I can Skyclave Apparition the Pride Mage. But I could also Skyclave Apparition whatever their next play is. Yeah, okay. Spellbinder is right. I'm going to knock their hand down, and then I can path the Pride Mage in their draw step, and then I can Skyclave Apparition whatever 3-drop they decide to cast when they get around to casting it, which may not be for a long time. I don't want them to have Knight of the Reliquary. Nope, Tireless Tracker. Because I can eat a Knight with Skyclave Apparition before it gets to do anything. Tracker, there is a possibility that they just immediately have a land to go with it. So they go into their draw step, then we path this thing. I suspect they have more than one basic land in their deck, so casting the path, draw step versus upkeep probably doesn't matter much. If they drew Scrib Ranger, does that matter? Like, they could briefly have 2 mana off Cradle, though I don't think that matters. So, Knight of Autumn, Reliquary. 2 cards in exile are the Zenith and the Tracker. Oh, did they find something to do with the mana? Are they going to Horizon Canopy? I think they lose the game on the spot if they do that. But they also... Oh, okay, that was a cool play. Once Upon a Time was an instant I had not considered, so that would have been a good reason to go in their upkeep, because then it would have cost them their whole turn to do that instead of just some of the mana. But they don't have another 2-drop in their hand, and we know that. So, alright, it's mostly the same. Though Once Upon a Time was not a card I considered when I let them get to draw step. Because they don't have anything they can cast. They have a handful of 3-drops over there. And we know that. We have what they call perfect information. So I can mash in here. And now the decision is, do I get Mother of Runes or do I get Thalia's Lieutenant and try to close this game out? So I can just get Mom, though if they find Plague Engineer off the top, I am dead. Just like DED, dead. Actually, I think I want Palace Jailer. Yeah, I'm on 4 mana over here. Palace Jailer might just get the scoop. That also answers Plague Engineer if they come up with it this turn. Yeah, Jailer is a pretty nice box checker here. And if they spend their turn casting Knight of Autumn to destroy Aether Vial instead of any of their other good creatures, I'm pretty happy with all that. I'm feeling pretty good here. They're digging frantically for exactly Plague Engineer, because that's the only thing that really keeps them alive. I guess they could have Zealous Persecution in their colors. That's a card that is sometimes in Maverick. Alright, they decided they're done. I'll take that. On the draw with a creature curve. I'm going to keep it. It's the Death and Taxes hand. Playing against Burn. Charming Prince does have the words gain 3 life on it. And Thalia is pretty good against Burn too. So let's see if I can... being on the draw here is rough. If I was on the play, I'd feel a lot better. Okay. Just gain 3 life there. I'll take it. Alright, Thalia. Show me the truth. Alright, taking 1 damage. I think that getting Tundra is worth it. Just, if I draw Meddling Mage, I am going to want to cast it. And try to name Fire Blast or something that's going to be hard for them to beat. Or something that'll be hard for me to beat. Alright, so opponents can't gain life this turn. So I better do this now if I'm going to do it. I'm more exposed to Price of Progress than I would really want to be in my mono white deck. Right. Take that where I can get it. Now let's beat down. So they have 2 cards left. Just nope, can't send that back. What are the words on this? Each player's upkeep, they take 1. Whenever a player casts a spell for no mana, they take 5. Opponents can't gain life. Okay, that's all reasonable. I'm pretty sure that Mother of Runes is better as an attacker than as a Mother of Runes for this matchup. I'm going to leave up my Wasteland here so I can waste my Tundra in response to a Price of Progress and just take 0 from it if necessary. Thalia's Lieutenant should get the job done. Okay. Time to beat down the burn deck. They take 1 in their upkeep. They'll take 1 in their next upkeep, so they're effectively at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. X-axes. That's how you beat burn. It's nice beating burn because most decks that I play just can never beat burn. Deafening Silence, Canonist. I don't think those are where I want to be. Flusterstorm could be reasonable. Prelate's obviously great. Skyclave Apparition, I guess, could answer the Vortex. Or also Goblin Guide, or also Eidolon. Yeah, maybe I want that. And I guess Canonist doesn't hurt. Like, I'm unlikely to double spell in a turn, and they might want to. So, let's see what's worse. Lavinia stops Fire Blast from happening, which is one of the scarier cards that they can muster. I think Aether Vial is not going to be part of the plan. Like, they might bring in Smash to Smithereens to destroy it anyway, and also just being on the draw, and that card takes a lot of time to get rolling. I don't think that's what I want to do. Swords of Plowshare is obviously great. Like, it's a gain life spell in a pinch, and it is a 1-mana answer to Goblin Guide. Thalia is one of the better cards. Meddling Mage is probably one of the worst cards. And am I going to have time to recruit for the guard? Probably not. Yeah, just shaving a 3-drop with low impact, especially since my vials are out of the deck. Yeah, alright. Let's do this. Hopefully we just get another clean win. That's what I want. Obviously. Ugh. This is an extremely powerful hand that is extremely soft to Price of Progress. Uh-oh, Goblin Guide. First appearance of this card. Basic Plains, alright. We're playing masterfully around. Ooh, which of these is actually gonna save more damage? I guess I should just plow this. Though, if they have Eidolon, I'd rather plow that. And Champion of the Parish will blank Goblin Guide starting next turn. Yeah, this might be risky, but I'm doing it. Swift Spear, Swift Spear. It's a lot of creatures. Mother of Runes on top of the deck. That's actually a phenomenal draw because I get to cast a human and then also cast Swords to Plowshares. Human. Mother. Alright, so champion can trade with Goblin Guide now, worst case scenario. So Meddling Mage is on top of my deck. I think I want to block a Swift Spear. They commit to casting a spell. I plow the Swift Spear that I blocked. And then champion gets to be enormous next turn. I'm at 10, but I think I can live with that. Do I Spellbind? Yeah, I think knowing what's in their hand is going to be important, especially with these two Meddling Mages. And I get to double spell next turn. Two Roiling Vortexes and a Firecraft. So Vortex does stop life gain, but they have two of them, so it's the rush. Yeah, I'm going to take the Firecraft. Wow, if they... I guess, like, I do definitely want them to miss the land drop, because I want to gain 3 life next turn. Ooh, okay. That was a reasonable draw. I am perfectly happy to trade off with this card. And then I get to strand 2 Roiling Vortexes in their hand. Alright, so blue, white. Build him to Turok. I have to take 1 life to gain 3 life here. There's not a better way around that. That's still a positive exchange for me. That was a really good turn. And I'm happy to trade off Charming Prince for this Goblin Guide. Yup. Okay. 2 cards in their hand that they can't cast. Alright. They've unlocked their shitters. Temporarily. But also not really. Roiling Vortex. Meddling Mage is broken. I can plow one of my own creatures if I need to gain 1 life, because the Horizon Canopy will cost me 1 as well. I should probably draw a card. If I find, like, Champion or, you know, Thalia. Those are pretty good. Popped me for some damage, sure. Yeah, sacking that Horizon Canopy turned out to save me 2 life and deal a bunch of damage to them and get Thalia into play. So I'm pretty sure from this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I just want to pass the turn without playing my land. Like, Skyclave Apparition puts lethal on into play, but the 3rd non-basic gives them Price of Progress as an out. Alright, and they're just dead. Lock down the burn deck. I'm on the play with another banger. I'm going to keep this. This deck is really good at keeping hands. It turns out that mono white, there's not a lot to mulligan for. If your hand has some lands and some creatures in it, that's what the deck does. I also got to pretend to be Death and Taxes for a couple turns here. Yikes! Good thing I have Wasteland. At that moment in every game against 12 post where it's like, oh god, I'm dead. Oh wait, no, I have Wasteland in my deck, I'm fine. Because if you watch my channel, you know that I'm like 50-50 to be a deck that can never ever beat a Cloud Post, or a deck that can never lose to it. And there's very little in between. Hope I draw another 2-drop. Okay, that works too. So now I get to put in Thalia. And I can protect her with Caracas if necessary. I'm gonna attack. Like, they have Eldrazi Temple in their deck. Mother of Runes isn't gonna... Like, unless they have Dismember, which is not a card they can cast right now. And the card they would target with it is probably Thalia, which I can pick up in response. Seer. So I'm gonna let this resolve because I think Recruiter of the Guard is scarier than Swords to Plowshares for them. And if they disagree, I'll just kill them with my Recruiter of the Guard. Yup. So that hides the information. Like, now I get to plow this and draw a fresh card and they don't know what it is. If I plow in response, then they get their best pick of the two. Charming. I think Charming Prince should scry too. Because I am actually in a position where I can lose this game pretty easily. Like, if they just put some large creature into play. Elite Spellbinder. That would have been great this turn, but I'm not so sure if I want it next turn. But, I mean, it is a flyer. It's something I can vial in. Oh god, they're at 20 still? How did that happen? Oh, I cast Swords to Plowshares. That's a good answer. Like, really the only super exciting draw right now is either Wasteland or Recruiter of the Guard. Oh, they have Karn. So I will probably kill Karn in combat and then lock the Ensnaring Bridge in there. Oh, Walking Ballista. Yeah, I'll lock that out too. It's all good to me. Alright, so I can always know at this point. It's just going to stay at 4. Or stay at 3. Alright, so attack Karn for 3 and opponent for 3. And then I get to clip their hand. I guess I should do it in their draw step. Now I am reasonably confident that the draw step is the right time to do this, unlike last game where I may have messed it up. Let's have a peek. Wow, just scooping it up. I did not actually think we were going to win that game, but that worked out pretty well. So, Palace Jailer, Skyclave Apparition coming in, Path to Exile coming in. Are any of these other cards important? Don't think so. Yeah, their deck doesn't really cast spells that I have to worry about with Sanctum Prelate. I guess if I suspect, like, Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, I could just Prelate for 8. But most of the time this is going to be a 3-mana 2/2, which is not a good deal. So, Lavinia, you're out. Lavinia does not stop creatures. If she did, she'd be great, but she does not, so she's out. Mother of Runes, basically no text in the matchup, though it did just attack for like 3 to 5 that game, which is exactly why you put Mother of Runes in your deck. And Meddling Mage can answer a big creature. We've seen Karn. I think this is as good as it's going to get. Let's go. At least until I know what, like, big fat 6, 8, or 10 drop I need to name with Sanctum Prelate. Hopefully it just doesn't come to that. A nice little mix of pressure and Wasteland is what I want out of this matchup. I think I lose last round if I'm on the draw. I don't know. I just feel like we were so close to being dead, but got away with something. Alright, I've got a pretty easy mulligan here. I mean, Wasteland is powerful, but it's not going to win the game by itself. Ooh, this one is the opposite. So I'm on the draw, which means I have two chances to hit a land. And I do have a 1-drop to play in Champion of the Parish. I'm going to keep this for science. It's obviously not great. I wish it had a Wasteland in it, but let's go. Human. Champo. And we're dead to Wasteland, but Cloud Post decks don't usually have Wasteland in them. You generally have to pick one or the other. Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, I don't care about that. I guess I care about it a little. I care about missing my land drop, though. Now we're dead. There was a world where we just hit 2 land drops in a row, or even just the one, and get to go nuts. But now it's too late. Yeah, we're not getting through that. That's what I thought was going to happen last game. They just play some big shitter like Golos and the game ends. All right, so same deck. I'll just keep a more stable hand this time. Okay, a bunch of 1-drops and a Wasteland. This is a keep. I'm going to fearlessly fetch the Tundra. I just really don't think they're going to have Wasteland in their deck. And if they do have it, I think it's going to favor me if they use it. So I get to waste whatever their land is here, play a second champ, grow the first champ, and then if I find another land at any point. Alright, so just gotta top deck the land here. Guess I could path one of my own creatures in a pinch. Don't really want to do that though, obviously. Land. Yes. Human. I think I'm Meddling Mage, naming Thought-Knot Seer. Thought-Knot Seer. Just reasonable, quote-unquote, 2-drop that they might have. It's like the one that is disruptive and large, basically, is my concern. Like, I don't care about Chalice of the Void at this point in the game. Grim Monolith, sure. Oh, just spending it immediately? Oh, on a second Grim Monolith. They're ramping into a Karn? Okay. Yeah, I can beat Karn. I have Meddling Mage for whatever they wish for. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so they wish for Ensnaring Bridge. Oh, I was about to say, and I have Apparitions in the deck just in case. Oh, this pre-combat, name Ensnaring Bridge. Let's clip that out of their hand. They spent multiple cards in the form of these Grim Monoliths to get that into their hand in the first place, and now it's just stuck there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, they're not dead, so I should kill Karn. It's that sweet little curve, Champion of the Parish. It's now bigger than many Eldrazi. Can I get a scoop? Give it to me. Yep. Easy money, 4-0, on to the finals. I'm on the play in the final round with a pretty explosive hand. I'm going to keep it. This is basically where you hope that Wasteland is actually good in the matchup. Like, I can champ, and then cast Charming Prince Scry 2, and then Thalia's Lieutenant plus Wasteland, pound for a zillion. Opponent's on 4. We're playing against Achilles 27, who is known for Maverick, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything here. But I will play around Wasteland. Forget about Meddling Mage. Getting wasted off white is one of the more reasonable ways that we lose this game. Alright, they're not on Maverick today. Spellbinder, don't mind if I do. Let's charm a little bit. Pre-combat. And a Scry 2. Not sure what I'm looking for, but Cavern of Souls probably fits the bill. Oh, are they just on Blue-Red Delver? Alright, well. Cavern of Souls. Ask and you shall receive. Interesting. Why would they bolt the 2-power creature that can't attack instead of the 2-power creature that can attack and will be bigger in the future? What are they up to over there? Okay. That still doesn't make sense, though. Like, they took 2 damage they didn't need to? Alright, it's fine. It's fine. I can... I think I just want to waste here. Twice. They have Stifle, they have Stifle. I'm just gonna waste them. They mulled to 4. I can put them on 0 permanence right now. Let's go. I can just Meddling Mage next turn if I feel like I need to. Or if I don't draw something better. Right, human. I'm gonna name Lightning Bolt. Seems like the pretty easy name. Alternatives are like Sprite Dragon or like something that would cost 3 mana, but I don't even know what that would be. Oh, do I want a Spellbind or do I want a Mom plus Lieutenant? I think I want a Mom plus Lieutenant. If they have Force, they probably want to cast it here because I didn't tap the Cavern, and it's not getting any better. Yeah, there we go. No surprise there. This was the one that was more important anyway. And they pitched a Daze to that. Yeah, I didn't think that you even cast Wasteland there. I'm glad they didn't, because I'd rather do this. Let's see, did I spike? Did I get a Lightning Bolt? Ooh, Expressive Iteration. Nice. The Wasteland took them off of that. So yeah, they're just Blue-Red Delver who mulled to 4. I'll take the easy wins where I can get them. But it's good to know. We got to see enough information to know what deck they're playing at least. Which is not a guarantee when your opponent mulls to 4. So Sanctum Prelate on 1 is pretty good here. Path to Exile, keeping the pressure off. Skyclave Apparition, also a removal spell. Palace Jailer is a little dangerous because their deck's going to have Sprite Dragon in it. And losing the Monarchy kind of sucks. I mean, it sucks a lot because I exile their creature, they attack, they get the Monarchy back, and trigger, they get their creature back. It's still in a strong maybe pile, though. I don't hate it. What do I hate? Once again, Lavinia. Sorry, Lavinia. I like this card a lot. It's just much worse in Legacy than it is in Vintage, where I think it's obviously insane, and we didn't really play against any of the matchups where she's super important. Thalia is very important. Meddling Mage. This is a card that every single card in their deck kills. Like, if I name Lightning Bolt, they Fork Bolt it. If I name Chain Lightning, they Lightning Bolt it. If I name Fork Bolt, they Red Blast it. If I name Pyroblast, they Reb. If I name Reb, they Pyroblast. So, I wonder if they even bring in the Pyroblast. I did show them blue mana, and I did cast Meddling Mage. So, if I board out all 5 of my blue cards, then Pyroblasts are just full dead if they bring them in at all. Yeah, that's kind of a fun little game. I like that. And this is a matchup where I don't want 2 Aether Vials. Like, every card's gonna have to matter. Canonist. Is Canonist something I want? Like, she just sort of, like, comes into play and annoys the opponent who wants to get Cantrip Velocity. Yeah, I don't think I hate Aethersworn Canonist. It's obviously not, like, really what it's for, but I do like it. I like it better than the redundant Thalia. Like, this isn't a matchup where you can afford to draw dead cards. That's why I cut the 4th Aether Vial, and cutting the 4th legendary creature also is for the same reason. Sand is solid. Just 2 removal spells and a Thalia. And I need some more stuff to go with this. If I draw, like, even like 1 more land, I guess 1 more land if it's Cavern of Souls is fine. But I don't want 2 more lands this game. I'm going to fetch now just in case they're a Stifle deck. They're usually not. The blue-red shell is pretty sleek these days. I'm also not going to path a Sprite Dragon if they cast it right now. I'm going to play around days wherever I can. Alright, do I care if they're a Stifle deck at this point? I'm just going to play the fetch land and pass. I don't want to run Thalia into just a clean Lightning Bolt, clean days. I want to find a turn where they commit mana to something, and then Thalia will at least be kind of awkward. I'll fetch in response to this, because if they do have Stifle, they at least lose their fetch off the Scalding Tarn. And I don't know how many basic lands are stock in these builds, but I assume we've seen the mountain, and I assume there's probably an island around there somewhere too. Okay, so this is what I was looking for with the I'm playing around days. They can't Lightning Bolt. They have to Force of Will this Thalia if they don't want it in play this turn. And if they let it resolve, untap, and bolt it, that's another whole turn. And now I have my 4th land drop lined up. I'm just not getting dazed this whole game. Really wish I had a Caracas to play this turn, but it's fine. The old time walk. Just 2 mana, take an extra turn after this one. Oh, they got 1 damage in on me. That's cheesy. Well, I can check their hand with Spellbinder, or I can just go in on this Prelate. Though, I think Spellbinder is where I want to be. Because Prelate is the one that's going to shut the door. And I get to see what's going on over here. Bone Crusher Giant, Abrade, Delver, Ethereal Forger. Alright, I'm pretty glad I didn't move in on the Prelate, because they have quite the mix here. I'm going to take Bone Crusher Giant, because that's the one I'm most worried about. And they do have a Daze. Glad I played around it. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can Ethereal Forger this turn. But also just Abrade my creature. See what they want to do about any of this. I have 2 paths and Skyclave Apparition, which answers all 3 of the threats in their hand. Sprite Dragon. I'll just block if they attack. Alright, did they decide they want to bolt? Change their mind about letting me just eat their thing? Okay, Lightning Bolt and Sprite Dragon are accounted for. I'm going to fetch to thin. I just really don't want to draw more lands. Ooh, my prince. So if I name 2 on Sanctum Prelate, that locks out the Abrade and the Daze, and then I can Path to Exile with impunity. They might want to Daze it just to be safe. Let it resolve. Let it resolve. Yes. 2. No Daze, no Abrade. Bone Crusher Giants in exile. They can't cast Stomp anyway. Yeah, that was good. And I'm gonna path this in their upkeep. I don't want them to draw a counterspell they can cast. I know right now this is gonna resolve. Yeah, I have perfect information about their hand. They have 2 cards they can't cast with Sanctum Prelate in play, and then 2 creatures I can answer. So they can cast Forager and Delver this turn, and just that looks like a pretty good turn, but I have it all covered. Wasteland, love to see it, just generally speaking. Apparition. Exile Delver. Ooh. I'm glad I led on Apparition, because this is what I actually wanted to do. Oh, they said LOL brain fart. Oh yeah, they forced to protect the whale, but not realizing that Apparition can't kill whale anyway. And I'm not going to waste them. They could cast the Bone Crusher Giant, but they can't cast Stomp, which is the important half of the Bone Crusher. Delver didn't flip. That's good news. Yeah, there's Bone Crusher. That's fine. But my mana is more important than theirs at this point. Like, now I can recruit and then Charming Prince recruit again. I probably want to get the Palace Jailer here. Though, I mean, that might be a little dangerous. But I like it. Oh, Skyclave Apparition's probably better. I'll just get both. Start with Palace Jailer. And then Prince. They still can't cast the Daze. Daze and a Braid are the cards in their hand. Flicker this. And I'm pretty happy to trade off Charming Prince and Recruiter for Bone Crusher in combat if they attack. Skyclave Apparition can clear the Delver. Palace Jailer can clear the Delver. Revealing Lightning Bolt to Delver. Rough, another 2-drop. That's rough. Yeah, so their hand is 3 2-drops. The Sanctum Prelate is insane right now. Okay, yeah, so I just double block here. Then I Palace Jailer the Insectile Aberration. And we run away with this? Wait, where did that come from? What? Oh, they pitched the Daze to Force of Will. That was a mystery card in their hand. Okay, okay. I take it back. That makes some sense. So I think what I want to do here is Mother of Runes, Palace Jailer. Yeah. I'm just going to be the Monarch. Exile Delver. I can chump for a turn with Palace Jailer, and then I'm protected with Mom forever. So if I can fade Sprite Dragon, like right now, be pretty good. And Apparition can answer Bone Crusher. Ooh, didn't even attack. That's what I'm talking about. I'm also talking about this. So, Apparition, get rid of Bone Crusher. And then Cavern on Human. Is it too early to sound the trophy bell? Because I think there's a trophy alert incoming. They can't cast any spells. They can't kill my creatures. I'm drawing 2 cards a turn. This looks pretty good, team. Sanctum Prelate on 2. Who would have thought? Brazen Bee. Also a 2-drop. Petty Theft is a 2-drop. Okay, so they get to take the Monarch, but they also just get pounded for pretty close to lethal on the backswing. Oh, but they do get their Delver back. But alright, yep, didn't even matter. Easy trophy. Well, deck's perfect, 5-0'd, pretty cleanly. In all seriousness, though, there were some close calls that Eldrazi post-matchup was a little bit scary. If they had put a big creature into play in game 1, we would have lost, but they just bricked for a while. The Delver matchup can be tough. My opponent had 2 pretty awkward hands. One of them, obviously the Multifor, where I just wastelanded them off of any permanence, was not reasonable. And the second one, we were able to get a peek at the hand with Elite Spellbinder and then lock out exactly the correct number with Sanctum Prelate. So that was all pretty close. The Maverick matchup also could have gone either way. So there was a lot of play to these games. And having been on this side of this deck now, I'm honestly terrified of Elite Spellbinder and Meddling Mage as a combo. Just the, take your second best card, lock your best card, or vice versa. Like, very powerful stuff when it's backed by a clock like Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant. Lavinia was questionable, though I'm not sure if what you would replace her for, because she's an incredibly powerful bullet to tutor up with Recruiter of the Guard, and there's nothing else that does this. Like, Thalia kind of does it, Meddling Mage kind of does it, but exactly this, the ability to just shut down like an entire Storm deck or any like LED based deck, or this also turns off Force of Will most of the time. So she does do a lot. We just didn't run into any of the matchups where she's super important, but that doesn't mean we don't want her. But yeah, this deck was very good, very consistent. I don't know if I would stake a Grand Prix performance on it. Like, I would just rather be on the Supreme Verdict side of things, but Supreme Verdict costing 7, if I can even cast it at all, is really scary. So there's a lot to like about this deck if you like attacking with creatures. So King of the Depths, thanks for requesting the deck. Kellen Pistori, thanks for brewing the deck. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.